But in the meantime, let's move
Next.
on to Los Calientes Rojo.
Calientes means hot, right?
Yes. It actually means the hot ones.
The hot ones. And what's the flavor? It's just hot?
It's got habaneros in it and smoked jalapenos.
Did I get the wrong side? Or does it really matter? Did you brush it all the way around?
I tried to get it all the way around, but sometimes the drumsticks are a little harder to get, so it's hard to get a solid coat on them without just dumping all of my sauce.
Jared's definitely right. You want to make sure you don't get on your lips, right? I mean, I can just feel the lips getting warm.
Yeah. The lips,
That one was not bad, though, at least so far.
it's got a great smoky flavor. So,
I can feel this coming again, though. I should probably just let it drip.
you should. That'd make for a great photo.
My wife
We could
always-
use it as the thumbnail.
My wife always is like, when we're in a restaurant and I'm starting to sweat like that, and I'm like, honey, look, I'm sweating. And she's like, that's gross. Don't let people see that. She keeps me in line, you know.
You have a very smart wife.
Yeah, I do. She went to college, I didn't.
So, you have been an Apple enthusiast for quite some time. How long?
Yeah.
Forever?
Nope. Well, the iPhone really got me going. And then, again, Lucas Bear again, he was our college guy at the time. Yeah, tongue's getting warm now. That feels good. When I came on staff, he was like, hey, the guys that were here before you were kind of like afraid of Apple, didn't know a lot about it. They're corporate guys, no big deal. But like, can I get an Apple laptop? And I was like, yeah, let's try it. I've always heard about that they're good or whatever. Like, they're expensive, but let's go try it. And so he got one, and I kind of like never heard from him again. Like, he made his own videos, he made his own PowerPoint, well, Keynote. He made his own stuff. He figured it all out, and I was like, oh, we all need these. Like, everybody needs this stuff. It just works, and it works together, and so yeah.
So you mentioned that the iPhone was one of the things that kind of
Yeah.
spurred some of your love for Apple as well. You are old enough to, I mean, I'm old enough to remember when the iPhone came out, but any students that are watching, they have only known
Right.
iPhones pretty much.
Yeah.
When was the first iPhone that you ever got?
Yep.
And then tell us about, you created actually sort of was it a company? Was it just
Just
kind of
a website,
a
yeah.
website that showed people how to do things with their iPhones,
Yep.
Apple iPhone School.
Yeah.
And tell us about that as well.
Yeah, so I started with just regular smartphones. I had a smartphone, like remember I told you my Avalanche, I had a laptop, and I actually had a cell phone docked in there so I could tether to it, physically tether to it. That's what tether means. It was hooked to it with a serial cable or something, or USB.
Didn't have Bluetooth in your
No,
Avalanche?
nope. It was a Qualcomm, whatever, I don't know. And it had black and white screen. Antenna, you pull out the antenna, okay? That's where we're at here.
That's where
And,
technology was.
Yeah. So then I was going to AT&T, and I was excited for this Windows phone that was going to come out that you could pop open, you could rotate it, and it was color. And I was like, this is amazing. And I happened to be up in Minnesota again, and I was at an AT&T store there in Rochester, and we went in. There was an iPhone booth, and it's like, oh, the iPhone's all by itself. Everything's clean. It just says iPhone. And I was like, okay, I'll go look at it. There's a line to see it. There was only one in the store, and you had to wait in line.
Just to look at it.
Yeah, so I'm waiting for the line. I think I had broken line, and I was over looking at the dream phone that I wanted. And I'm over looking at it, and I go back to the iPhone, or I go to the iPhone, and I'm like, oh, text messaging. I'm like, boop, and I'm like, whoo. And I was like, home screen. I was like, website. Woo. I was like, this is so smooth and simple and clean. I went back to the Windows phone. I was like, you rotate it, and the screen would resize itself as it tried to rotate, and icons would load. And I was like, I'm going for the iPhone. It was $600 back then for a 4 gig. There was no picture messaging.
4 gigs.
Yeah, there's no picture messaging. Could not record videos. There was no app store. You could not swipe, scroll. It was just very basic, very basic. So the Apple iPhone School thing is, somebody had mentioned to me that you could hack them, or it was called jailbreaking, to get them out, jailbreak them out of their software. And so I was like, okay, I'm probably not going to do that as a $600 phone, which is very odd back then. And to have a phone that expensive today, we just don't think that's a big deal. But
Yeah.
and so the guy's like, oh, you can just erase it and then reload the software. Like you can back it up and it's totally fine. And I was like, okay, I guess I'll try it. And I did. And then there's these guys were making apps and making an app store before Apple did, and making it do things that it couldn't do, like record video or something. And so I was like, wow, this is amazing. So then people were like, well, how do you do that? And I was like, well, let's show you. So I've always tried to make different websites that do different things where I can make money, because I've always seen people make a bunch of money online and YouTube videos or whatever. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try this, try this. And that was one of the things I tried. And we actually, for probably 7 years or so, I can't remember how many years, but my wife basically made a second income doing it. I ended up teaching her how to hack them, and how, not to create the hacks, but how to install them and how to just basically test them, and just built a whole online community basically, and podcasts and everything. And
Wow.
then when we started having kids, it was a little hard to keep up. So, but yeah, that was fun.
Because I think I have seen on your Twitter account that says founder of Apple iPhone School.
Yeah.
And I've always wondered, what is this?
Yeah,
I think
that's
I
what it
clicked.
is.
I think I clicked a link and it took me to either nowhere or something that I didn't understand.
Yeah.
So
Fun times.
back in the day.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that the iPhone does now that those hackers built, that Apple was like, oh, people like that, we're going to make it better, and make it do it. Like take a picture with the volume button,
Oh, yeah.
as a shutter button, or the light, turning your flash into a flashlight. Those were all just things that, even that, obviously the App Store. Like when you used to swipe, when it was hacked, you swiped up to get to other pages. Well, Apple just swiped the other way.
Yeah.
And made pages or whatever. So video backgrounds and all kinds of crazy things. Nobody really does it much anymore because Apple's added it all.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Cool.